Gotta do it all over again. You know when you hit the stop button and not record? So I got my fuel line, here's my pump. So what happened is I got a leak and my truck was running, idling, and then it just died. And I was like, well, what's going on? It's probably my fuel filters, usually the reason. So I took my fuel filters off. This is on the pressure side and vacuum side. Took it off and they were both pretty much empty. Almost all the way empty. And I was like, well, that's not good. And sure enough, it turns out fuel line is leaking, has a hole in it. It's kind of like when you poke a hole in a straw and then you try to drink it through the straw, whatever beverage, and you get a whole bunch of air bubbles in there and it's really hard to do so. Well, that's what's happening here. When you have empty fuel filters or almost empty fuel filters, that's the problem. So in order to test where the leak is, you need to put a plug, show you. You got to put a plug in your fuel lines. You got two of them that come on top. See, there's one there, there's the other one. They go right here on top into the pickup tube and the return. Anyways, what you do is you end up putting one of these little $6 half-inch flare plugs. Remember, it's got to be flared. And just screw it in hand tight. Doesn't need to be wrenched on. And do the same thing on the other tank if you got two fuel tanks. And then you just put one of these guys on and you just fill it up to whatever pressure you want. This thing would drop so quick, it was ridiculous. It was such a bad leak. Well, anyways, this thing comes off. You can see there, it just pops right on the inside of that like that. I just went and got this fittings here, and sure enough, they both screwed on. This is a 1/8 inch fitting right there, or is it a quarter? I can't remember, but they're like $6 each. And then you plug the other two ends at the tanks, one plug on that side, one plug on that side. Put about 30 pounds of air pressure in this, and then you go get some soapy water and just start spraying. It's got air pressure in it. See, it's at 30. You just go ahead and start spraying. I can hit it. There you go. And just keep on running that all the way down, all the way through the whole fuel line. And what turned out to be the problem, you can see here, I'm going through, there's just no leaks anywhere. You check the housing, you check everything, but you're just looking for air bubbles. I mean, literally everything. You're trying to, these things do crack, but that wasn't the problem. Turns out I got a vacuum line that comes up into my dash, which is that one there, but none of those are leaking. You can see no leaks. I'll show you what was actually the problem. So it turned out to be the line that goes to the vacuum gauge. There, see how it says vac? Yeah. Anyways, and then that runs up to the dash, back behind here. Get behind these wires, you pull that forward. Anyways, but it's back in there and it screws onto the little fitting on the dash. And then it fits here. And this was the hose that was having the problems. You can see here, it was all cracked. You see that? It was leaking air like crazy. It just kept squirting it with the bottle and had air bubbles coming out all over. And this is the part number. I mean, I just went to Napa Auto and Truck Parts and they just made it. Anyone that can make hydraulic lines can make it. It cost me, I think it was like $45 to have that hose made. I mean, it's like 3,000 psi. It's overkill, but I mean, I got it done and it was down the street, so I didn't have to go all the way to the city to get it. But this is what was leaking, and that's the pinhole in the straw. So you ever try to drink out of a cup with a straw and there's a hole in the straw, that's what's happening. And that's why my truck died when it was idling. Anyways, hopefully this helps somebody else. And like I say, you just hook one of these gauges up if you don't already have one. I mean, look, it's almost already still at 30. You know what I mean? It's holding pressure. Before it wouldn't. It would just drop so quick, and you had to keep pushing it, pushing to keep it at 30, and it just kept dropping.